the door to the mayor's office. Okay. And then who came because they heard about the movement that we're doing with the Black Employees Alliance? Just by show of hands. Okay, awesome. So we're really intertwined in terms of the purpose that has us out here, because we're here to support each other, the same causes, so to speak. My name is Dante King. I worked with the city previously for about 7 years. I was a human resources manager, and then I was a human resources manager, and then I moved to the Department of Transportation, where I was the chief equity officer. So I sat on the cabinet level with a lot of the leadership, and so I understand just kind of the politics involved when it comes to the leadership in the city, and what motivates them as well as what doesn't motivate them, okay? And dealing with issues of race and racism does not motivate these leaders at all until they are embarrassed. And one way to do that is to shine a light on their racism outwardly and as loudly and conspicuously as possible. And so we have here news media. There were people invited from the San Francisco Standard, the San Francisco Chronicle, the Examiner, Mission Local, as well as other local news outlets. Because we need to ensure that, you know, the leadership in the city, including Mayor Lurie, is going to continue to issue racist policies. If they're going to continue to issue racist policies and affect the perpetual racist outcomes that Black people, both residents and employees, continue to experience in San Francisco, we need to let them know that we will continue to call it out. How many of you get that? Okay. So we've met with about 5 out of the 11 supervisors so far. We met with Supervisor Jackie Fielder, Supervisor Engardio, Mandelman. I forget the other ones, but we've met with about 5 or 6 of them, and they have agreed to have another hearing on the disfranchisement of Black employees throughout the city and county of San Francisco. That may be something that Mega Black wants to sign on to as well, in order to motivate them to schedule the hearing faster, quicker. One of the reasons that we're out here today, and it's one of our primary reasons, is back in February, we put together a similar demonstration just like this. We marched into the mayor's office, as well as every other member on the Board of Supervisors, and we requested meetings with them. Some of their staff took it seriously. They reached back out to us. And we were able to get meetings scheduled. Mayor Lurie's staff, they did not take it as seriously, and they reached back out, but one of his staff members essentially said, because we had how can I say this? We had a hard time. We were given a hard time when we went into the mayor's office back in February. They were disrespectful and they were racist. And so I ended up calling it out in the moment. You were there, Bilal. I ended up calling it out in the moment, and then I posted about it on all my social media. I posted about it on some different outlets, and I got a call from the mayor's, one of the mayor's legislative aides or staff people, saying to me that I needed to take the post down on my social media because it had embarrassed one of his schedulers, which was a young white girl. And let me say, I don't want to go into too much detail, but what happened was we were basically, when we entered the mayor's office, that younger white employee tried to usher us out of the mayor's office and told us basically that we didn't belong in the mayor's office, that we had too many people. And I said to her, this is a public office, he's a public servant, it's the taxpayers that pay his salary, and we deserve to be here. And so when I said that, she relented. And so she allowed us to stay, but they continued to be rude, and they tried to move us to one side of the mayor's office because they told us that standing in front of the door was a safety hazard. Moments later, they moved a group of white people into that same location where we were standing, and I called out in front of everyone in real time, so is it hazardous only when Black people are standing in this location, Or is it still hazardous when white people, because you just told us to move, and now you've ushered this group of white people who are waiting to meet with the mayor into the same space? Make it make sense. It's racist and anti-black. And so because of that incident, I posted about it on all my social media. So one of the mayor's staffers called me the next day and said, Mayor Lurie is open to meeting with you. He's open to meeting with the Black Employees Alliance, but you have to take the post down. And I said to him, that sounds like quid pro quo, because what you're telling me is that anyone that calls out the mayor, anyone that does not agree with the mayor's agenda or who opposes the mayor's not going to meet with them. And that sounds more like a CEO to me than a mayor. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you're running Levi, right. So if you're still an heir of the Levi Strauss company and you want to go and run Levi Strauss that way, that's great. But to run the city and county of San Francisco in a way that feels like a Gestapo state, similarly, eerily similar to what's happening at the federal level in this moment, I believe that that is unacceptable. Any thoughts?
Wealthy white man doing that, and obviously he doesn't care. So until we can make him understand that, we're not gonna let him go.
So, well, and he may not ever understand it, but hopefully it gets to a point where we can apply enough pressure to garner so much attention that he will not be able to turn a blind eye or turn away.
What are the issues facing Black city employees?
So the issues is that across every department at the city and county of San Francisco, Black employees are disproportionately disciplined in every department. And that includes, as it pertains to suspensions and terminations. If you also go on the city's website under the data that they've tracked, and I think the last data set that they have is as of 2022, you can clearly see that when it comes to promotions, when it comes to hiring, when it comes to representation across classifications that are not entry-level, non-entry level, but more so managerial, mid-level management, senior management classifications, Black people are getting the least promotions. They're being hired least into those positions, and also the attrition rates, the rates at which Black employees are being terminated from the city, they're substantially higher than any other group. In the city and county of San Francisco, both through the racial equity ordinance and the establishment of the Office of Racial Equity, they required every department to develop and implement departmental racial equity action plans. So if the city and county of San Francisco and its leadership is no longer adhering to the legislation that they produced and the standards that they produced for every department, then they need to just say it. But to participate in lip service and to participate in a situation where there is an absence of commentary from the leadership, there's an absence of vision from the leadership, that's entirely unacceptable, and we feel like it is political theater.
Exactly. And they're human trafficking us and murdering our babies. Not fun. Literally murdering our babies in hospitals. This is not cool.
Yeah.
They do not serve in the military. Look, we are a different breed in the military. There's reality, and then there's, and then you've got policing and military policing. Look, guys, I know we hate police. But
so let me say
Go ahead.
So yes, and that has to do too with some of the things that Mega Black is supporting as it pertains to residents and communities. But what's your name?
Sylvia, but we gotta be right. It's Black and brown, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really
But let's be very clear. My only problem with what you're saying, because I agree with you, but it does not seem like the brown come out unless the Black start and come out first.
That's what you
and
guys are at the
and that's
top,
problematic.
I know.
And that's problematic. So I'm sorry. Does anyone have any other questions?
You said the human rights and what do they do? You gone to the
Human Rights Commission? Well, the Human Rights Commission is where the Office of Racial Equity sits. And so the Office of Racial Equity, under the direction of the Human Rights Commission, should have replaced its director by now. When the inaugural director left, Shakira Assembly, that position was never replaced. Mayor London Breed did not hire anyone, and now we're hearing talks that Mayor Lurie wants to dismantle the city's Office of Racial Equity. And so if that is the case, then I mean, we need to understand. We need to know what's happening. If those are his politics, if that is what he stands for, then be transparent about it. Be honest.
And let me just add that, speaking of that transparency, and I'm here in support of the Black Employees Alliance as a member of Mega Black and as a group of people from San Francisco and working in San Francisco, living in San Francisco, to be promised Dreamkeeper dollars at 90 million and then have it slashed without any explanation to 45 million, and then now recently with this particular budget have that 45 million slashed down to 19 million, so they say, without any explanation, is unacceptable. Those Dreamkeeper dollars were promised to nonprofit organizations that were not just Black, but brown and Asian organizations, and the money just stripped away without any explanation. It's unacceptable. He must, the Mayor Lurie and his staff and the Human Rights Commission, new director, we need answers. We need to know where the money went. We need to know where the appointments will happen, when they will happen. We want answers, and we want answers now. That's why we're here.
And I also want to go on record by saying this too. All of the hyper scrutiny, all of the smear campaign that we've seen concerning Director Cheryl Davis, previous Director Cheryl Davis, I'm not saying that, I agree. It's not that I endorse or not endorse the steps that she took and whatever she did, but what I do know and understand about institutions, especially political institutions, is that when they want to smear someone's name or when they have a different agenda or want to go in a different direction, for example, cutting down the Dreamkeeper dollars, one of the strategies that they use is to start a libel or slander campaign. And that's what they've done to this woman. In my estimation, I think the City and County of San Francisco has taken it entirely too far in terms of all of the information that's been produced and the ways in which they've made it look like she participated in corruption and or acts that could potentially be criminal. I think that it is, it's just been overdone. It's gone way too far.
Was the Human Resources Department involved in corruption?
It was the
Human Resources. The Human Resources, the Department of Human Resources here at the City and County of San Francisco has absolutely been involved in corruption, which is why its former director, Mickey Callahan, and the former EEO director, Linda Simon, they were involved in a cover-up concerning the EEO complaint process, which is why then Mayor London Breed forced them to retire early and then brought in William Gold IV. And in my estimation, they are still involved in corruption under the leadership of Director Carol Eiston. Because how can you explain one mayor, Mayor London Breed, bringing in William Gold to produce a report that attached to the findings in that report listed over roughly 30 to 40 different recommendations that needed to be implemented to change that process, and they haven't been implemented yet. And that's under the direction of Carol Eiston. And so we as the Black Employees Alliance consider it a dereliction of duty, and as far as we are concerned, Mayor Lurie needs to fire Carol Eiston.
Have you checked with the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People? Have you brought this to them?
As far as I'm concerned, and I mean, this is my own view, I can't say that this is the view of the Black Employees Alliance, but I mean, we have to realize that the NAACP was a group that was started to keep Black people in line. And it's really a group that caters to the good Negroes and the Negroes that are considered, those that are considered more so integrationists, but there's a lot of even hierarchy and sometimes, I don't want to call it corruption, but they do pay to play in that group. And so we saw even a few years ago when it came out and there was a whole conversation going around reparations, and the leader of the organization in San Francisco said, do not give that money to Black people. That's in direct that's in a direct contradiction of what reparations is supposed to be about. So how do you even begin to trust a group like the NAACP? And as far as I'm concerned, the NAACP, whether we're talking about the national level or at the local level, they have no power at all. Because if they did, we would not be seeing what we're seeing with Donald Trump and in this current administration. Black people, the only power that we have as black people in this country is putting our lives on the line and sometimes our livelihoods to stand up with what we believe in and what we believe in. And sometimes that means taking it to the streets and doing stuff, organizing like this, and then, you know, going in front of leaders to try and hold them accountable. Anyone else have any thoughts?
I just wanted to share a thought on the mayor wanting to clean up San Francisco and clean up downtown San Francisco on DPH's back, because essentially the frontline workers are the ones that are outside dealing with folks that are dealing with substance use, substance overuse, getting folks into treatment. We're the ones delivering the service, but services, however, don't have livable wages to even afford the salads that are at some of these little stores over here. There was a grocery store on the corner of my the corner of 10th and Market that just shut down because I don't even think the business could keep up with the prices. And in there, just in particular, a bag of grapes was $10, $12. So we're also not, even though SEIU did get the 13% wages raised, that's not enough. We're still not meeting a livable standard, and many employees can't even afford to live in San Francisco. So, you know, I'm from here, born and raised in San Francisco, work for the city and county of San Francisco, but I can't afford to live here. And that in itself says it's a big problem for me.
That's going to change quick.
I want to make one other point too.
That's going to change quick.
So during COVID, we understand that the COVID-19 pandemic caused a lot of economic disruption. It caused, the sheltering in place that really reset the labor landscape in terms of allowing people to be able to work remotely and work from different places. And the city has run efficiently for the last 5 years with employees being able to telecommute, sometimes up to 40%, 60%, some at 80% per week, okay? And now this mayor is attempting to bring city employees back into the office 4 days a week because he wants to try and recover some of the monies that were lost due to the loss of a tax base here in San Francisco. Businesses, I'm sorry. You can. Businesses have closed. People have moved away, and he believes that the way to recover some of that revenue is to now have employees, and particularly lower wage employees, come back into the city, commute into the city so that they can spend their money downtown. Mayor Lurie needs to figure out another way. It has tremendously racist impacts.
And the bad part about it is there's not enough space for these employees to come back to. So you're literally bringing people into ghost offices because they're in our office alone. Now you got people are like playing musical chairs. You know what I mean? Because they don't have a set office because there's not enough space. So it doesn't make sense.
They're trying to get away with not paying taxes. They're trying to fight not having to pay taxes and suing the city on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's money instead. That's money that these CEOs think they can get away with. And this is taxpayer money. We're the ones that keep the city running. This mayor is giving arbitrary and capricious reasoning for us coming back 4 days a week. He has no data to back it. It's a pure desire. So it's just a disgusting situation going on, and it's pinning us that are the frontline workers, mainly black and brown, mainly minority workers, in a situation where we're the ones having to pay these horrible cost of living increases, the tolls that have gone up, everything is going up. We're really struggling. Housing is the highest cost for us, and of course redlining is still occurring. So we have just this systemic roadblock that we have to fight, and the only way we're going to fight it is putting our livelihoods, jobs, families at risk by hitting the streets. So I'm really proud to be here with y'all, and as a mental health chapter president in SEIU 10 to 1, I look forward to being able to work with y'all more.
Thank you very much. What's your name?
Augusto Guerra.
Nice to meet you so much.
DPH clerk. Thank you.
Well, we are going to go into the mayor's office right now.
Good luck, okay?
We've lost a few people, but Yeah, all of you can, all of today is to go back in to visit with the mayor to let him know again that we would like to meet with him face to face, not his chiefs of staff, not anyone on his staff, but him directly. Because again, we were here in February, as I mentioned a minute ago, we requested to meet with him, and then we were contacted, but as I said, there was like this quid pro quo. You must take down the negative commentary about the mayor in order for the mayor to meet with you. We believe that's unacceptable. They locked it. They locked the door to the mayor's office.
Okay, I know how to pick them.
Did they know that we were coming? Is that the reason that they locked the door? Yeah, I think so too. Because it can't, because what time is it?
It's 2.
Yeah. So the mayor's office, to our knowledge, is not closed ever during business hours, not in this way. Even if he's not there, or let's say the clerk or whoever kind of mans the office, there's someone there. There's typically a representative in the mayor's office. So we're at San Francisco City Hall. They were aware that we were coming today. Mayor Lurie does not want to meet with black constituents in San Francisco. He is opposed to meeting with black residents as well as black employees who also some are residents of the city and county of San Francisco. And so we understand that this administration is functioning both on policies and practices that are rooted in anti-black racism. And Mayor Lurie, by locking his offices today because he understood that we were out here, now this door was just open, and several of his staffers walked out, they saw us out here, and now the door is locked. So you tell us what this represents to you, because we understand as black people that this is directly out of the playbook of anti-blackness. Yep, it's locked.
All right, welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Cheryl Thornton. I stand before you today in unwavering support of the Black Employees Alliance because enough is enough. Black workers in the city and county of San Francisco have carried the weight of systemic and structural racism far too long. We are not just talking about isolated incidents. We are also talking about the pattern, the most disciplined, the last hired, the first fired. These are not just statistics. They are people's, families, livelihoods, and dignity. Let's be clear. This is not equity. This is not justice, and this is not acceptable. We are calling on Mayor Lurie and the Board of Supervisors, not with anger, but with urgency. During his campaign, Mayor Lurie stood before the people of the city and promised accountability. He said he would hold his administration to the highest standards. Now it's that time to keep that promise. Mr. Mayor, your black employees are watching. San Francisco is watching. And we are asking not just for a seat at the table, but for our humanity to be recognized, our labor to be valued, and our rights to be protected. And let us not forget, this is not just about a moral issue, this is a legal one. The city's own racial equity ordinance, which mandates fairness in hiring, promotion, and discipline and workplace culture, is being violated. When black employees are consistently targeted and overlooked and pushed out, it's not just unethical, it's unlawful. We need independent oversight. We need transparent hiring and promotion and disciplinary practices. And we need leadership that doesn't just talk about equity, but it acts on it. Because if black workers can't be safe, respected, and treated fairly in a city like San Francisco, where can we go?
Thank you, Cheryl Thornton, for your comments. Welcome, the next speaker.
So my name is Cheryl Thornton, and I'm with the Department of Public Health I'm the current president of the Community Public Health Chapter. So I'm here today in support of the Black Employees Alliance. And we're out here today because a few years ago we had a rally. We had a hearing here at City Hall with all the supervisors, very well attended, to get some systemic and structural changes around racism that's happening to Black employees in the city and county of San Francisco. And so some legislation was passed. We were able to get some legislation and ordinance in place around the Human Rights Commission. But unfortunately, that legislation has not been fully enacted, and Black workers are still the first to be hired, the most to be disciplined, and the last to be hired. And so we're here today again to organize around this because we still need change, because we are still seeing after the pandemic the numbers not changing around discipline and things of that nature. So that's why we're here today.
Are you worried about what the Trump government is doing with DEI and the attack on any kind of protection against discrimination?
Well, as far as the DEI, it never, according to the statistics, it never really helped Black workers in the first place. We were number 7 in line, so it just never, ever, ever took hold for us. But yes, I'm concerned about all the changes at the federal level around protections, around discrimination. It seems like we are really rolling the dial back 100 plus years. So I'm very concerned about it, yes.
And the government now is saying they've pretty much dismantled the EEOC, these other agencies, cut back on the staff. And
yeah, somebody was just standing here. She made an appointment with the Office of Civil Rights, formerly known as the Department of Fair Housing, and she couldn't even get an appointment. You know, she's on a wait list. There's that many people. The staff has been cut back. So a lot of these cases are going to take maybe a decade or more to even get to.
And there's a Human Rights Commission here in San Francisco. What has it been doing?
So that is a good point. The Human Rights Commission of San Francisco, it investigates outside discrimination under employment and housing, but it does not investigate the city for discrimination, which really seems like hypocrisy. Because why have that name, the San Francisco Human Rights Commission, yet you can't investigate these crimes and hold people accountable? I mean, they're violating city ordinance, federal and state laws, but yet there's no...
Why is that?
Why it is because they don't want to address it. I mean, it's been in place all these years here in San Francisco, although it's a progressive city. Progressive for who? It's not been progressive for Black people. We can see that, you know. It's like the gentrification, you know, is endemic in the Black community. And this is all around discrimination, structural and systemic discrimination that needs to be dealt with. And it has not been yet.
And the issue of the cutbacks in Medicaid, how is that going to affect public health care workers in San Francisco?
Well, I saw a special on the news Sunday with the mayor saying that the city budget deficit could rise from $800 million to $200 billion, given the cutbacks that are happening at the federal level. And a lot of people are not going to get health care, and they're not going to have access to health care because if there's not the Medi-Cal dollars coming in or the Medicare dollars coming in, then it falls down to the cities, which is general fund, HSF. So where we get that money is from the homeowners, the tourists, the business sector, and you know, we know that since the pandemic, a lot of the businesses have left San Francisco, or they don't want to even pay their fair share, like Uber and Airbnb currently. They're fighting, there's a lawsuit, and they don't want to pay their fair share. And so really the answer is that if we want to maintain humanity, everybody needs to pay their fair share.
And there are over 80 billionaires in San Francisco. You have a mayor who's a billionaire from the Levi family. It seems like they say that they're paying too much.
Well,
privatize public services and...
Well, according to what the tax codes that Trump has set up, the 1%ers really aren't paying taxes. They're escaping the taxes. And so this is part of the problem. So I'm not sure what they mean when they say they're paying their fair share, because according to the tax code, they're not paying. And so this cannot be all on the poor people. In order, in a capitalistic society, for a few to win, many have to lose. And so these people that are at the bottom need the help. And so it's just not, I mean, dogs get treated better in this city than actual people. And again, I want to say, where is the humanity?
And the Democrats are in charge in San Francisco. The Democrats are in charge in California. It seems they're implementing Republican policies that will keep supporting the rich.
It's all about the rich. It doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. It's all about the rich. And we got to be about the people. It's time for it to be power to the people.
I think there should be a Labor Party.
Absolutely, we need a third party. Absolutely. People that represent working class people of this country, because we're the majority. But, you know, if Trump keeps it up, he's a great agitator, and we're going to find that many people are going to be out here in the streets, you know, demonstrating.